She stood in the doorway of the Charleston mansion, medical bag in one hand, resignation letter drafted on her phone in the other. Naomi Wells had nursed 17 people through their final days. She'd held hands, whispered comfort, made peace possible. But this case was different. The man in the next room, Billionaire, dying, 41 years old, had just asked her for something no patient had ever requested. Not more morphine. Not prayers. Not even dignity. He wanted her to love him. Really love him. To give him what 6 months and all his money couldn't buy. The feeling of being someone's whole world before he left it. The contract sat on the table. 6 figures. 4 months, maybe less. One impossible request. Her finger hovered over the resignation email. Send or stay. Love him or leave him. She had 30 seconds to decide. Family, welcome back to our channel, where we bring you emotional stories of love. Because in truth, love and death cannot be escaped. No one can say when, how, or where. It's never too early or too late. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button right now so you don't miss what happens next. And if you're one of our returning viewers, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Now, stay with us to the end of this story. Leave a comment with your thoughts and like this video. Let's continue. The thing about death Naomi had learned was that rich people died exactly like poor people. Same fear in their eyes. Same desperate grip when the pain got bad. Same way of looking past you, at something you couldn't see, in those final hours. The Ashford estate didn't change that truth. She pulled her Honda Civic past the iron gates, past the fountain that probably cost more than her annual salary, past hedges trimmed into shapes she didn't have names for. The house, no mansion, rose against the March sky like something from a movie. White columns, wraparound porches, windows that caught the afternoon sun and threw it back like challenges. Naomi checked her face in the rearview mirror. 36 years old. 3 years since Marcus. 7 years of nursing. Eyes that had seen too much but somehow not enough. Her phone buzzed. Mom. You there yet? Remember. Professional boundaries. Naomi. Don't get attached. She almost laughed. Attached. As if her heart still did that. The agency briefing had been clear. Holden Ashford, 41, terminal pancreatic cancer, 6-month prognosis, refused hospital care, wanted to die at home. Private case. Excellent pay. Wealthy family. Difficult patient. Already gone through 3 nurses in 6 weeks. Difficult usually meant scared. Angry. Bargaining with God at 3 in the morning. She could handle scared. The front door opened before she knocked. A woman in her late 60s stood there, thin and elegant, wearing grief like expensive perfume. Mrs. Ashford. Patricia. You must be. She paused, and Naomi saw the calculation. The surprise. Miss Wells. Naomi. She'd seen that look before. That flicker of what? Doubt. Concern. The unspoken question about whether a black woman could handle their precious dying son. She was used to it. Didn't mean it didn't sting. Naomi, Patricia repeated, voice softer. Thank you for coming. I apologize if I seemed startled. Holden didn't mention. Well, he doesn't tell us much these days. She stepped aside. Please. The interior was all high ceilings and art that probably had names. A staircase curved upward like a question mark. Somewhere in the house, classical music played. Something sad, something that knew about endings. He's in the solarium, Patricia said. East Wing. He spends most of his time there now. The light is. He says the light is better. Her voice cracked on the last word. She cleared her throat. Dr. Chen's notes are in the folder. Medications, schedule, emergency protocols. My number is there too, though I. She stopped. He doesn't like me hovering. Most patients don't, Naomi said gently. They need space to process. Space. Patricia's laugh was bitter. He's had nothing but space his whole life. Built an empire on space, virtual space, cloud space, whatever that means. Now he's got 6 months of it left and he's pushing everyone away. She met Naomi's eyes. The other nurses. He was rude. Impossible. Sent them away in tears. I don't cry easy. No, Patricia said, studying her. I don't suppose you do. The solarium was glass and light and a man sitting motionless in a leather chair, staring at the gardens beyond. Holden Ashford didn't look like a billionaire. Didn't look like he was dying either, not from behind. Just a man in a t-shirt and expensive jeans, barefoot, brown hair catching the late sun. Then he turned. The weight loss was obvious. Clothes that used to fit now hung loose. His face had that hollowed look, terminal illness carved into features. But his eyes were sharp green, taking her in with an intensity that made her stand straighter. You're the new one, he said. Not a question. Naomi Wells. I'll be. I know what you'll be doing. I read your file. He turned back to the window. 7 years in hospice. Lost your fiancé 3 years ago. Car accident. No other relationship since. You live alone in a 1-bedroom apartment in West Ashley. You volunteer at the free clinic on Saturdays. Your mother calls you every morning. He glanced back. Am I missing anything? The invasion should have angered her. Instead, she felt something else. Recognition. You left out that I take my coffee black and I'm not impressed by men who run background checks on their nurses. His mouth almost smiled. Almost. The other nurses were scared of me, he said. Or they pitied me. Sometimes both. The one last week tried to pray over me while I was sleeping. He stood, slower than he probably wanted to, using the chair arm for support. Which one are you? Naomi set her bag down. Walked closer. Close enough to see the port in his chest where the chemo had gone in. Close enough to smell the antiseptic hospital soap he still used. Probably out of habit. Neither, she said. I'm the one who's going to keep you comfortable. Keep you clean. Keep you company if you want it. Quiet if you don't. Make sure when the end comes, it's as peaceful as possible. She held his stare. I'm not scared of dying, Mr. Ashford. I've been there 17 times. And I don't pity you. Pity doesn't help anyone. Something shifted in his face. Holden. Nobody calls me Mr. Ashford except lawyers and my mother. Holden, she agreed. He moved to the windows, looking out at gardens starting to wake up for spring. They're beautiful now. By June. He didn't finish. Didn't need to. Tell me about the pain, she said. Scale of 1 to 10, where are you today? Does it matter? It's only going to get worse. It matters because I can help manage it. That's literally my job. Your job is to watch me die. My job, she said carefully, is to make sure you live as fully as possible until you don't. He turned then, really looked at her. That's a nice thing to say. It's a true thing. There's a difference between dying and being dead. You're not dead yet. 6 months. Maybe less. Then you've got 6 months. Maybe less. She pulled out her medication chart. We can spend it with you being miserable and everyone around you walking on eggshells. Or we can spend it making the most of what's left. Your choice. Holden laughed. Actually laughed. The others tried to give me hope. False promises about miracles and fighting spirits. I'm not going to lie to you. You've got pancreatic cancer stage 4. The odds are shit. But lying in this chair feeling sorry for yourself isn't going to change that. So, pain scale. 1 to 10. 5. Sometimes 7. At night worse. Okay. Let's adjust your dosing schedule. She sat down across from him, pulled out Dr. Chen's notes. Talk me through a typical day. When's it worst? What helps? What doesn't? They spent an hour going through medications, schedules, triggers. He was smart. Asked good questions, understood the pharmacology better than most patients. Probably researched everything obsessively. You're going to want to control this, she said finally. The dying. You're going to want to manage it like a project, optimize it, make it efficient. Is that wrong? It's impossible. Death doesn't care about your plans. His jaw tightened. Then what am I supposed to do? Live. However you define that. Whatever that means to you. She stood. I'll be here every day, 8 to 8. Overnight nurse comes at 8 p.m. If you need me outside those hours, call. Number's in your phone now. She'd added it while they talked. Ground rules. I don't do pity. I don't do false hope. I don't do drama. But I show up, I do my job, and I give a damn. That work for you? He studied her for a long moment. The others couldn't handle the silence. Kept trying to fill it with chatter. Silence doesn't scare me either. What does scare you? The question caught her off guard. Waste, she said finally. Wasted time. Wasted chances. People dying with too many unsaid things. She picked up her bag. I'll see you tomorrow morning. 8 sharp. Naomi. She turned at the door. Thank you, he said quietly, for not treating me like I'm already gone. Something in his voice, the rawness of it, the real fear underneath, made her chest tighten. She nodded and left before he could see her face change. The next 3 weeks fell into rhythm. Naomi arrived at 8. Holden was always in the solarium, already awake, watching the light change. They'd go through vitals, medications, physical therapy exercises to maintain strength. He hated the exercises. Hated what his body couldn't do anymore, but he did them. Then they'd talk. Not about death. About everything else. He told her about building his company from nothing. Coding in a studio apartment at 25. Living on ramen and ambition. The first big investment. The moment he knew he'd made it. The sale that made him billions at 36. And then what? She asked one morning, helping him through stretches. Then nothing. I had everything and no idea what it was for. That's when most people find someone. Start a family. I tried. 3 times. Engagements that fell apart because I wasn't really there. I was always working, always building the next thing. He winced as his shoulder pulled. Turns out you can't build a relationship the way you build a company. No, she said softly. You can't. She told him about Marcus. About meeting at a hospital fundraiser, about how he made her laugh in the middle of her shift, about the proposal that came too soon and felt exactly right anyway. And then a drunk driver, she said, her hand steady as she checked his pulse. Killed him instantly. I got the call while I was at work. Finished my shift before I fell apart. She met Holden's eyes. Stupid, maybe. But I needed to take care of my patient first. Marcus would have understood that. You haven't dated since. No. Because you're still in love with him? She thought about that. Because I'm not sure I can survive losing someone again. His hand covered hers where it rested on his wrist, checking his heartbeat. I'm sorry you know what that feels like. I'm sorry you're going to. They stayed like that for a moment. His hand warm on hers. Her fingers against his pulse, feeling life beating against time. Then Patricia called from downstairs about lunch, and the moment broke. Week 4 and something shifted. Holden started asking her to stay later. Just until the overnight nurse comes, he'd say. The transition is easier if you're here. She knew what he meant. The nights were when the fear came. When the what-ifs and the regrets crowded in with the pain. They started having dinner together. Nothing fancy, she'd order takeout, and they'd eat in the solarium as the sun set over the Ashley River in the distance. Tell me something true, he said one evening, picking at pad thai he couldn't really taste anymore. Side effect of the medications. About what? Anything. Something real. Not nurse-patient real. Just real. She thought about deflecting. About professional boundaries. About her mother's warning. I'm lonely, she said instead. I come home every night and it's just me. I talk to my plants. I watch shows Marcus and I used to watch and I can't remember if I actually like them or if I'm just scared to stop. She set down her fork. I'm 36 years old and I've forgotten how to be a person outside of being a nurse." Holden was quiet for a long time. Then, "I'm terrified. Not of dying, I've made peace with that. But of dying without ever." He stopped. Started again. "I've had everything money could buy. But I've never had someone who chose me. Not the money, not the status. Just me." He looked at her. "I'm 41 years old and I don't know what it feels like to be loved." The confession hung between them. "That's sad," Naomi said finally. "Yeah." He almost smiled. "It really is. You still have time." "Do I? Who's going to fall in love with a dying man?" "Someone brave enough. Someone who understands that time matters more than how much of it you get." He studied her face in the fading light. "Is that someone you?" Her heart stopped. "Holden. I'm not asking you to. I'm just—" He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. "The other day when you fixed my pillow, your hand brushed my face. It was nothing. Completely innocent. But I've thought about it every night since. That one accidental touch. Because it was kind and gentle, and it wasn't clinical. It was just human." His voice dropped. "I'm dying and I've never really been touched like I matter." Naomi couldn't breathe. "I can't be what you need. I'm not asking you to be. I just needed to say it out loud. That this is what I'm going to miss. Not money. Not success. Just the simple human things. Someone's hand. Someone's attention. Someone giving a damn when I'm scared." He looked away. "I'm sorry. That was inappropriate. She should leave. Should maintain boundaries. Should remember all her training about transference and vulnerability." Instead, she reached across the small table and took his hand. "You matter," she said. "And I do give a damn. And you're not alone." She held his gaze. "I'm right here." His fingers tightened around hers. "Naomi." "Don't," she whispered. "Don't say whatever you're about to say. Because we both know where this goes, and it ends with me losing someone else. Then maybe—" He swallowed hard. "Maybe we don't think about the ending. Maybe we just let this be what it is. For however long we have. That's insane. I'm dying. I'm allowed to be insane." She should say no. Should walk away. Should protect herself. But she was so tired of walking away. So tired of being protected. So tired of safe, lonely, empty. "I'll stay," she heard herself say. Through dinner. Through the nurse transition. Through. She couldn't finish. "Through whatever comes," Holden finished. His thumb traced circles on her palm. "Is that a yes?" "It's a maybe. A careful, terrified maybe." He smiled then. Really smiled. The first genuine smile she'd seen from him. "I'll take it," he said. And somewhere in her chest, something that had been frozen for 3 years began, terrifyingly, to thaw. The thing about falling, Naomi discovered, was that you never noticed the exact moment you started. One day you were standing on solid ground, and the next you were midair, wondering when you'd left the edge behind. She noticed it first in the small things. The way she started checking her phone during her lunch break, hoping for a text from him. The way she'd catch herself buying his favorite coffee. Dark roast, no sugar, without thinking. The way Thursday nights, her day off, felt too long and too empty. The way she'd started counting down hours until she could see him again. It was a Wednesday morning in mid-April when everything shifted. She arrived at 8 to find Holden not in the solarium. Panic flared. Had something happened overnight? Was he in the hospital? She took the stairs 2 at a time, medical bag forgotten in the foyer. His bedroom door was open. He sat on the edge of the bed, bent forward, breathing hard. "Holden. Bad night." His voice was strained. Pain. Couldn't get comfortable. She was beside him instantly, checking his pulse. Too fast. Skin clammy. "Why didn't you call me? It's your job to be here during the day." Not to rescue me at 3 a.m. That's exactly what it's for. She pulled out her phone. I'm calling Dr. Chen. His hand caught her wrist. No hospitals. I need you to help me manage this here. That's what we agreed. His eyes met hers. Scared but stubborn. Please. She made him lie down. Adjusted his medication protocol. Upped the long-acting pain relief. Added a breakthrough dose. Within 20 minutes, she could see him start to relax, the tension leaving his shoulders. Better? She asked softly. Getting there. He caught her hand as she started to move away. Stay. Just for a minute. She should have gone to document everything, call Dr. Chen anyway, maintain the professional distance that was slipping further every day. Instead, she sat on the edge of his bed. Tell me something, he said, eyes half closed. Something that makes you happy. Need to think about something other than pain. My mom's garden, she said without thinking. Back in Atlanta. She's got these roses. Every color you can imagine. When I was little, I thought she was magic because she could make flowers grow from nothing. You miss her. Every day. We talk on the phone, but it's not the same. Bring her here, Holden said. For a weekend. I'll send a car. She can see Charleston, see that you're okay. Holden, that's too much. I've got money and no time to spend it. Let me do this. Let me. He opened his eyes fully. Let me take care of you a little. You're always taking care of me. Her throat tightened. You don't need to do that. I want to. His thumb traced circles on her palm, like he had that first night. Your mom worries about you. I can hear it in your voice when you talk about her calls. She wants to see you're really okay. So let me make that happen. Why? Because you matter to me. Simple. Direct. Devastating. Naomi couldn't look away from him. This is getting complicated. I know. We shouldn't. I know that too. He sat up slowly, pulled by some gravity stronger than pain. But I don't want to die without knowing what this feels like. What feels like? This. He lifted his free hand, hesitated. Can I? She nodded. Couldn't speak. His fingers traced her jaw, feather-light, learning the shape of her. His thumb brushed her cheek, and she realized her eyes had closed. I think about you constantly, he whispered. The way you move. The way you talk to me like I'm still whole. The way you don't flinch when you touch me, like my dying body isn't something to be afraid of. His hand cupped her face. I'm falling for you, Naomi. I know I shouldn't. I know it's selfish. But I am. She opened her eyes. Found him inches away, close enough to count his eyelashes, close enough to see gold flecks in the green. I'm terrified, she admitted. Of what? Of this. Of you. Of losing you. Her voice cracked. Of feeling everything again just to have it ripped away. Then don't feel everything. Just feel this moment. Right now. That's all I'm asking. Holden. He kissed her. Soft. Careful. A question more than a demand. And Naomi, who'd promised herself she'd never risk her heart again, who'd built walls so high nothing could climb them, who'd chosen safety over everything else for 3 years. She kissed him back. His hand slid into her hair. Her palm pressed against his chest, feeling his heartbeat, still strong, still fighting. The kiss deepened, and she tasted coffee and medication and something else. Hope, maybe. Or desperation. Or both tangled together until she couldn't tell the difference. When they broke apart, she was shaking. I can't lose you, she whispered against his mouth. You won't. Not really. Not if we make this count. That's not how grief works. Then teach me. You've survived it. Show me how to make this worth the pain that comes after. She pulled back, looked at him. Really looked. Saw the man, not the patient. Saw the fear and the hope and the want. Saw someone who'd given up on happy endings finding one last chance. We have rules, she said finally. If we're doing this. Okay. You don't lie to me about the pain. Ever. If it's bad, you tell me. Deal. You let me take care of you. No macho bullshit about not wanting to be a burden. Agreed. And when it gets too hard, when the end is close, you let me stay. You don't push me away to protect me. We face it together. His eyes glistened. You're sure? No. I'm absolutely not sure. I'm terrified, and this is probably the worst decision I've ever made. She took his face in her hands. But I'm doing it anyway. Because you're right. Time matters more than how much of it we get. He kissed her again. Deeper this time. Like a promise. Like a beginning and an ending happening at once. Thank you, he breathed. Don't thank me yet. I'm going to make you do all your physical therapy exercises. I'm going to monitor your diet. I'm going to be impossibly annoying about medication schedules. He laughed against her mouth. I'm counting on it. The next 2 weeks were stolen moments. Morning coffee in the solarium. Sitting close enough for their knees to touch. His hand finding hers during medication reviews. Her fingers combing through his hair when the pain was bad and he needed distraction. She met his brother, Jamie, who drove up from Savannah with suspicion in his eyes. You're his nurse, Jamie said flatly, cornering her in the kitchen. Yes. And you're? He gestured vaguely. Caring about him. Is that a problem? He's vulnerable. Dying. If you're taking advantage. I'm not taking anything. She faced him squarely. I'm giving. Time, attention, comfort. Things he's never had enough of. And if you can't see that, then maybe you should ask yourself why it bothers you so much that your brother might actually be happy in his final months. Jamie's jaw worked. He's my brother. Then act like it. Stop checking his bank statements and start checking on his heart. She walked past him. He's in the garden if you actually want to talk to him. She found Holden later, sitting by the fountain. Jamie thinks I'm a gold digger, she said, sitting beside him. Jamie thinks everyone's a gold digger. Occupational hazard of being wealthy. He took her hand. I don't care what he thinks. Your family matters. You matter more. He said it simply. Truth without decoration. My mother's coming around. She sees how I am with you. How I'm lighter. Less angry. He smiled. She asked me yesterday if I was in love. Naomi's breath caught. What did you say? I said I was getting there. He turned to face her. Was that the wrong answer? No. It was honest. She traced his knuckles with her thumb. I'm getting there too. Slower maybe. With more fear. But I'm getting there. We don't have time for slow. Then we'll be scared and fast. He laughed, and the sound was sunlight breaking through clouds. I like us. Me too. That night, after the overnight nurse arrived, Holden walked Naomi to her car. A new ritual. 5 minutes of normalcy. Pretending this was just a regular relationship with regular goodbyes. My mom's coming this weekend, Naomi said, leaning against her Honda. You still sure about that? Absolutely. I want to meet the woman who raised you. She's going to interrogate you. Good. I'd be disappointed if she didn't. He stepped closer, trapping her gently against the car. What will you tell her? About us. The truth. That I'm falling for a man who makes me laugh. Who listens when I talk. Who sees me as more than just the person keeping him alive. She reached up, touched his face. That I'm terrified and happy and I don't know how to hold both at once. You're doing pretty well so far. Am I? Because some days I wake up and remember what's coming and I can barely breathe. His forehead pressed against hers. Then breathe with me. Right now. Just this moment. They stood there in the cooling April evening, breathing together, holding each other like the world wasn't ending. I'm going to love you, he said quietly. I'm going to love you completely, even knowing it ends. Because you've given me something I thought I'd never have. What's that? A reason to want more time. I was ready to die, Naomi. Resigned to it. But now. His voice rough. Now I want every second. Every minute. I want mornings and midnights and everything between. I want to memorize you. I want to give you memories that don't hurt quite so much when I'm gone." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "You can't promise that." "No. But I can try." He kissed her softly. "Stay with me this weekend. When your mom's here. Stay in the house. Let me show you both Charleston. Let me have you close. Holden. We're running out of time. I don't want to waste any of it saying goodbye at your car." His hands framed her face. "I want to fall asleep knowing you're down the hall. Wake up knowing you're close." Is that too much? It was. It absolutely was. Moving in, even temporarily, even with her mother as buffer, it crossed every line, broke every rule, made this thing between them impossible to walk away from. "Okay," she whispered. Yeah. This weekend. We'll stay." His smile was sunrise and sunset happening at once. "Thank you." She drove home that night with tears streaming, hands shaking, heart cracking open for the first time in 3 years. "Marcus," she thought, "I'm so sorry. I'm falling in love again. And this time I know exactly how it ends." But she was doing it anyway. Friday evening, Naomi Wells arrived. Naomi watched her mother take in the Ashford estate with wide eyes. "Baby, you didn't tell me he was this kind of wealthy." "Does it matter?" "It matters that my daughter might be getting her heart broken by a billionaire instead of a regular man." Renee turned sharp eyes on her. "This is real, isn't it? Not just you being his nurse. It's real, Mama. And you know how this ends." "I know." Renee pulled her into a hug. "Then I'm here for all of it. The falling and the breaking. All of it." Holden met them in the foyer. Naomi watched him straighten despite the pain she knew he was hiding. Watched him extend his hand to her mother with genuine warmth. "Mrs. Wells. Thank you for coming. I've heard so much about you." Renee took his hand, studied him. Naomi held her breath. Then her mother smiled. "You've got kind eyes. That's good. My daughter doesn't trust easy, so if she trusts you, you must have earned it." "I'm trying to," Holden said simply. "Every day." "And you love her. Mama." "It's okay." Holden looked at Naomi, then back to Renee. "Yes, ma'am. I do. I know that timing is terrible. I know I'm asking her to lose someone again. But I can't help it. Your daughter is the best thing that's happened to me, and I plan to love her as completely as I can for whatever time I have." Renee's eyes filled. "Then you better make every day count, you hear me?" "Yes, ma'am. That's the plan." The weekend was a gift. Holden had arranged everything. A private boat tour of Charleston Harbor. Dinner at Magnolia's with a reserved table by the window. A walk through the gardens at Middleton Place. Him leaning on Naomi when he got tired, refusing to cut it short. Sunday afternoon, they sat on the piazza, Holden in the middle, Naomi on one side, Renee on the other, watching the sunset paint the sky. "This is nice," Renee said softly. "All of us here together." "Yeah," Holden agreed, his hand tight around Naomi's. "It really is." Later, after Renee had gone to bed, Holden and Naomi stayed outside, wrapped in a blanket, counting stars. "Thank you," she said, "for this weekend. For my mom. For everything. Thank you for letting me have it." He kissed her temple. "I want more of this. More weekends. More moments. More you. You have me." "Do I? Really?" She turned in his arms, looked up at him in the darkness. "I love you. I don't know when it happened. Maybe that first day. Maybe the night you kissed me. Maybe every day in between. But I do. I love you." His breath caught. "Naomi. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated. I know every single reason this is a bad idea." She cupped his face. "But it's true anyway. I love you, Holden Ashford. And I'm going to love you for whatever time we have." He kissed her like a drowning man finding air. Deep and desperate and grateful. When they broke apart, his cheeks were wet. "I never thought." He started. Stopped. I never thought I'd hear someone say that and know they meant it. Not the money. Not what I could give them. Just me. Just you, she confirmed. The man who makes terrible jokes when he's nervous. Who cries at old movies. Who's brave and scared and trying so hard to make peace with dying. Her voice broke. You're easy to love, Holden. So easy. They held each other under the Charleston stars, while time kept moving and death kept coming, and neither of them cared because this moment, this love, this choice, was worth everything that came after. Move in, he said suddenly. Not just weekends. Really move in. Spend every day with me. Let me wake up with you close. Let me have breakfast with you. Let me love you for real, not just in stolen moments. That's crazy. It's the sanest thing I've ever asked for. He pulled back to look at her. We don't have forever, Naomi. We have now. Let's not waste it. She should say no. Should protect herself. Should remember all the reasons this would hurt worse if she let herself have everything. But she'd been protecting herself for 3 years, and where had it gotten her? Lonely. Half alive. Going through motions. Holden made her feel whole again. Okay, she whispered. I'll move in. Yeah. Yeah. She laughed through tears. Let's be crazy together. He kissed her again, and the stars above them seemed to shine brighter, as if the universe itself approved of their impossible, beautiful, doomed love story. Monday morning, Renee left with tears and hugs and whispered warnings to be careful with her daughter's heart. Take care of her, she told Holden at the door. I will. And when I can't anymore. He swallowed hard. Will you take care of her then? Always. Renee hugged him tight. You're good for her. I see it. She's alive again. Thank you for that. After she left, Holden found Naomi in the solarium. So, he said, you're really doing this? Moving in with your terminal patient. Looks like it. She crossed to him, slid her arms around his waist. Any regrets? Only that I didn't meet you years ago. His hands traced her back. We could have had so much more time. We have enough time, she said firmly. We have right now. And that's everything. He believed her. For that moment, in the morning light with her in his arms, he believed her completely. Neither of them knew that in 3 weeks, everything would fall apart. Naomi moved in on a Tuesday. Everything she owned fit in her Honda. Clothes, books, photos of Marcus she couldn't bring herself to throw away, her mother's quilt, the coffee maker that had survived 3 apartments. Not much to show for 36 years of living. Holden met her at the door. Insisted on carrying boxes despite her protests. You're supposed to be conserving energy, she said, grabbing a suitcase before he could. I'm helping my girlfriend move in. That's what you do. Girlfriend. The words still felt strange and wonderful. Like trying on a life that didn't quite fit yet but might, given time they didn't have. He'd prepared the room next to his. Big windows facing the garden. Private bathroom. Space that was hers but close enough that neither of them had to be alone. If you want to stay in my room sometimes, he said, setting down the box, suddenly uncertain. That's okay too. I just didn't want to assume. She kissed him quiet. This is perfect. Thank you. That first week living together was an adjustment. Learning his rhythms. How he woke at dawn but moved slow, body stiff from lying still. How he needed coffee before he could speak. How he'd disappear into his study some afternoons, working on something he wouldn't talk about. Legacy planning was all he'd say. Making sure things are handled. She learned to read his pain levels by the set of his shoulders, the way he'd touch his side without thinking, the slight hesitation before he stood. Learned when to offer medication and when to offer distraction. He learned her too. How she needed the kitchen to herself in the morning, making breakfast the way her mother taught her. How she'd go quiet when she was overwhelmed, needing space to process. How she still called Marcus's voicemail sometimes, late at night, just to hear his voice one more time. Holden found her one night, phone pressed to her ear, tears streaming. Hey, he said softly, sitting beside her on the piazza. You okay? She wiped her face. I'm sorry. I shouldn't. Don't apologize. He was important to you. He still is. Holden took her hand. You can love him and love me. They're not the same thing, and they don't cancel each other out. It feels wrong sometimes. Like I'm betraying both of you. You're not betraying anyone by having a heart big enough for more than one person. He pressed a kiss to her temple. Marcus would want you to be happy. I want you to be happy. That's all that matters. She leaned into him, and they sat in comfortable silence, watching fireflies dance across the garden. Tell me about him, Holden said eventually. What was he like? So she did. Told stories about Marcus's terrible singing, his love of cheesy action movies, the way he'd leave sticky notes all over their apartment with reasons he loved her. He sounds like a good man, Holden said. He was. You would have liked him. Yeah. I think I would have. He paused. Do you think he'd like me? Naomi considered that. He'd like that you make me laugh. That you listen when I talk. That you're not afraid to be vulnerable. She turned to look at him. He'd like that you see me. Really see me. Not just as the person who takes care of everyone else. I do see you. His hand cupped her face. You're extraordinary, Naomi Wells. And I'm grateful every day that you chose to see me too. She kissed him then, soft and slow, tasting salt from her tears and sweetness from his. I love you, she whispered. I love you too. By early May, they'd fallen into a routine that felt almost normal. Mornings were hers for nursing duties. Vitals, medications, physical therapy. Holden grumbled through exercises but never refused. His strength was declining, weight still dropping despite her best efforts with nutrition. Dr. Chen's monthly check-in confirmed what they both knew. The cancer was progressing. Maybe 3 months left. Maybe 4 if they were lucky. We could try another round of chemo, Dr. Chen offered. It won't cure anything, but it might buy some time. Holden looked at Naomi. She knew what he was asking. Is it worth it? The sickness, the weakness, the borrowed time that might not even be time worth having? It's your choice, she said quietly. Whatever you want, I'm here. He squeezed her hand. No more chemo. I want whatever time I have to be clear. Present. With her. Dr. Chen nodded, unsurprised. Then we focus on comfort and quality. That's what hospice is for. After she left, Holden was quiet. Second thoughts? Naomi asked. No, just. He stared out at the garden, now fully alive with spring blooms. Realizing how fast it's going. It was 6 months in January. Now it's 3. Soon it'll be weeks. Then days. She wrapped her arms around him from behind, pressed her cheek to his back. We're making the most of it. That's all anyone can do. Is it enough? It has to be. But that night, alone in her room, Naomi let herself break down. 3 months. Maybe 90 days. Maybe less if the cancer decided to accelerate. How do you fit a lifetime of love into 3 months? Mid-May brought Jamie back, and this time he brought lawyers. Naomi was in the kitchen when raised voices echoed from Holden's study. You're letting her manipulate you. Jamie's voice, sharp with anger. She's doing nothing of the sort. Holden, calm but firm. She moved in, Holden. Into your house. Your life. And now suddenly you're changing your will. My will is my business. Not when you're being taken advantage of. You're vulnerable, you're dying, and she's positioned herself perfectly. Naomi walked in. Both men turned. Say it to my face, she said evenly. If you think I'm some kind of con artist, say it while I'm standing right here. Jamie's jaw tightened. Fine. I think you saw an opportunity. Rich man, dying, lonely. You're young, attractive, a nurse. Perfect setup. Play the caring girlfriend, be there at the end, walk away with a fortune. Jamie, Holden started. No. Naomi held up a hand. Let him finish. What else? I think my brother deserves better than someone using his last months to secure a payday. The words should have hurt. should have made her angry. Instead, she felt sorry for him. "I don't want his money," she said quietly. "I wanted him. The man. The person who laughs at terrible jokes and cries at old movies and is terrified of dying alone." She looked at Holden. "I fell in love with him knowing I'd lose him. Knowing it would destroy me. And I chose it anyway because he's worth it." "Easy to say. I signed a document," Holden cut in, voice hard, "3 weeks ago, stating explicitly that Naomi gets nothing from my estate. Not money, not property, nothing. She insisted on it. Said she didn't want anyone questioning her motives." He stood, moved to Naomi's side. "So your conspiracy theory doesn't hold up, little brother." Jamie blinked. "You what?" "I love him," Naomi said simply. "That's it. That's the whole story. No ulterior motives. No schemes. Just a nurse who fell for her patient and is trying to give him the best final months possible." She met Jamie's eyes. "I'm sorry that's hard for you to believe. But whether you believe it or not doesn't change what's true." Jamie looked between them. Saw the way Holden stood close to her, protective. The way their hands found each other automatically. The way they breathed in sync. "I'm trying to protect you," he said finally, voice softer. "I know. But I don't need protection from her." Holden's arm slid around Naomi's waist. "I need you to accept that I'm happy. Finally, after 41 years, I'm actually happy. Can you do that?" Jamie's throat worked. "She's going to break when you're gone." "I know. And that kills me. But it's her choice. And I'm grateful she made it." After a long moment, Jamie nodded. "Okay. If this is what you want." He looked at Naomi. "I'm sorry. For what I said. You love your brother. I get it." She managed a small smile. "We're on the same side here." He left shortly after, and Naomi sagged against Holden. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah. Just tired of defending what we have. We won't have to much longer." Words spreading. "My mother knows, your mother knows. Jamie's coming around. Soon everyone will just accept it." He tilted her chin up. "I'm proud of you. How you handled that. I'm not interested in proving anything to anyone except you. You don't have to prove anything to me either. I know exactly who you are." He kissed her softly. "You're the woman I love. The woman who makes me want to fight for every extra day. The woman who sees past the dying part to the living part." His forehead pressed to hers. "You're everything." She held him tight, feeling his heartbeat against hers, strong but irregular now. Time running out in real time. "Let's go somewhere," she said suddenly. "Where?" "Anywhere. Beach. Mountains. Wherever you want. Let's take a trip. Make a memory." He pulled back, studied her. "You're serious. You've got 3 months, maybe less. We've been staying in this house playing it safe. But safe is boring, and we don't have time for boring." She grabbed his hands. "Let's go to the coast. Rent a house on the beach. Wake up to ocean sounds. Watch the sunrise. Be normal people doing normal couple things." "I'm not exactly up for parasailing." "I'm not asking for parasailing. I'm asking for you and me and sand between our toes." She smiled. "What do you say?" "I say you're crazy. You love that about me." "I really do." He laughed, and the sound was lighter than it had been in days. "Okay. Let's do it. Book something for next week. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere it's just us. Deal?" That night, curled up together on the couch watching a movie neither of them paid attention to, Holden whispered, "Thank you." "For what?" "For not treating me like I'm already gone. For pushing me to live instead of just wait." His fingers traced patterns on her arm. "I was ready to die, Naomi. Just sit here and fade away. But you make me want to fight for every moment." "Then fight. Stay with me as long as you can." "I will. I promise." It was a promise they both knew he couldn't keep forever. But for now, in the soft light of the television, with her head on his chest and his arms around her. It felt true enough. The beach house was in Edisto Island, 2 hours south of Charleston. Small, right on the water, far enough from everything that the world felt very far away. They arrived on a Tuesday afternoon, the 3rd week of May. Holden was having a good day. Pain managed, energy decent, color in his cheeks. Naomi unpacked while he stood on the deck, staring at the ocean like he was memorizing it. "When's the last time you went to the beach?" she asked, joining him. 10 years. Maybe more. I was always working. Always building something. He turned to her. "I wasted so much time." "You're not wasting it now." "No. Now I'm exactly where I want to be." They spent the evening walking the beach, Holden's pace slow but steady. His hand in hers. Her shoulder supporting him when he needed it. The sun setting in oranges and pinks that looked like they'd been invented just for this moment. "I want to remember this," he said, stopping to face the horizon. "Exactly this. You and me and this perfect evening. When things get bad at the end, when I'm scared and hurting, I want to come back to this memory." Naomi's eyes filled. "Then let's make it count." She pulled out her phone, took a selfie of them, his arm around her, both of them wind-blown and smiling, ocean behind them, sunset painting everything gold. "Perfect," she said, showing him. "Frame it. Put it somewhere you'll see it after I'm gone." His voice was rough. "So you remember I was happy. That we were happy. I could never forget. Promise me something. Anything. After I'm gone, don't stop living. Don't lock yourself away like you did after Marcus." He cupped her face with both hands. "Fall in love again. Let someone new see how extraordinary you are. Have the life you deserve. Holden. I mean it. You're 36. You've got decades ahead of you. Don't spend them mourning me." His thumbs brushed away her tears. "Love me, miss me, but live. Really live. That's what I want." "That's a terrible thing to ask." "I know. But I'm asking anyway." He kissed her forehead. "Promise me." "I promise to try." "Good enough." That night they made love for the first time. Slow and careful, his body fragile but willing, her touch gentle but sure. Learning each other in a new language. Speaking in sighs and whispered names and the rhythm of skin on skin. Afterwards, lying tangled together, listening to waves through the open window, Holden said, "I never thought I'd have this." Sex. Naomi teased. This. Intimacy. Real connection. Someone who sees me completely and doesn't run. He pressed a kiss to her shoulder. Someone who makes me feel human instead of like a walking death sentence. "You are human. Very much alive and very much mine." "Yeah." He smiled against her skin. "I really am." They stayed at the beach for 5 days. 5 days of slow mornings and sunset walks and meals eaten on the deck with their feet bare. 5 days of pretending they were just a normal couple on a normal vacation. On the last day, Holden's pain spiked. Bad enough that even increased medication barely touched it. He tried to hide it, but Naomi knew. "We should head back," she said gently. "Not yet. One more sunset." So they sat on the deck, wrapped in blankets against the May evening chill, and watched the sun sink into the Atlantic. "Best week of my life," Holden said quietly. "Mine too. Really. Better than anything with Marcus." She thought about that. Different. Marcus and I had years to build memories. You and I have moments. But these moments. She leaned into him. These moments are everything. "I love you, Naomi Wells." "I love you too, Holden Ashford." The drive home was quiet. Holden dozed, pain medication making him drowsy. Naomi drove and tried not to think about Dr. Chen's latest email. Expect rapid decline soon. Days to weeks, not months. 3 months had become maybe 6 weeks. 6 weeks had become maybe 4. Time was a thief, and it was stealing faster now. When they got home, Patricia was waiting. One look at her face and Naomi knew something was wrong. What happened? Dr. Chen called. The latest scans. Patricia's voice broke. It's spread. Liver, lungs. She wants to see you both tomorrow. Holden, suddenly very awake, took Naomi's hand. Squeeze tight. How long? He asked. Patricia couldn't answer. Just shook her head, tears streaming. Naomi felt the world tilt. Felt everything they'd built, the routine, the hope, the careful balance, start to crumble. It's okay, Holden said, though his hand trembled in hers. We knew this was coming. But knowing and living it were two different things. That night, Holden couldn't sleep. Couldn't get comfortable. Pain breaking through every medication barrier. Naomi stayed up with him, holding him, whispering promises she didn't know if she could keep. I'm not ready, he admitted at 3 a.m., voice breaking. I thought I was. But I'm not. I don't want to leave you. Then don't. Stay. Fight. I'm tired, Naomi. So tired. I know, baby. I know. Will you stay with me? At the end. Don't let them take me to a hospital. Let me die here with you. I'll be right here. I promise. Every moment until the last one. He cried then. Really cried. The kind of sobbing that came from the soul, from a man facing the ultimate ending with eyes wide open. And Naomi held him through all of it, her own tears falling into his hair, her heart breaking in real time. Because this was love too. Not just the sunsets and the kisses and the perfect moments. This, the fear, the pain, the impossible goodbye creeping closer. This was love too. And she would not look away. Dr. Chen's office felt too bright, too clean, too clinical for the conversation they were about to have. Naomi sat beside Holden, their hands clasped so tight her fingers had gone numb. Across the desk, Dr. Chen pulled up scans on her computer screen. Images that looked like abstract art but meant everything. The cancer has metastasized aggressively, Dr. Chen said, her voice gentle but direct. Liver, both lungs, lymph nodes. At this stage, we're looking at weeks, not months. How many weeks? Holden's voice was steady. Naomi felt him trembling. 4 to 6. Maybe less if complications arise. Maybe a bit more if your body fights harder than expected. Dr. Chen turned away from the screen, faced them directly. I'm sorry. I wish I had better news. What does that look like? Naomi asked, slipping into nurse mode because it was easier than feeling. The decline. Increased pain, requiring stronger medication. Fatigue that becomes debilitating. Difficulty breathing as the lungs are compromised. Confusion as the liver fails to filter toxins. Dr. Chen paused. Eventually, multi-organ failure. But we'll keep him comfortable. That's the priority now. Holden nodded slowly. So this is it. The beginning of the end. I'm afraid so. They drove home in silence. What was there to say? Every word felt too small for the enormity of what they were facing. Back at the house, Holden went straight to the solarium. Their place. Where this whole thing had started. Naomi found him there 20 minutes later, staring at the garden he'd planted in March. Roses and lavender and jasmine that would bloom long after he was gone. I planted those for you, he said without turning. So you'd have something beautiful to remember. So this house wouldn't just be the place I died. She crossed to him, wrapped her arms around him from behind. It's already more than that. It's where we fell in love. 4 to 6 weeks. He turned in her arms. That's nothing. That's barely enough time to, his voice cracked. I wanted more time with you. I know. I wanted to take you to Paris. Show you the northern lights. Wake up beside you for years, not weeks. His hands framed her face. I wanted to marry you. Naomi's breath caught. What? I know it's crazy. We've only known each other 3 months. But I love you and I'm dying and I don't want to die without you being my wife. Tears streamed down his face. Even if it's just for a few weeks. Even if it's technically pointless. I want to marry you, Naomi. I want to call you my wife. I want you to have that proof that this was real, that I chose you, that you were everything to me. She was crying now too, hard enough that she could barely breathe. "You're serious?" "Completely." "Will you marry me? Will you let me have that before I go?" Every logical part of her brain screamed no. It was too fast, too intense, too much heartbreak compounded. She'd be a widow twice over before she turned 40. But her heart, her stupid, brave, reckless heart, knew the answer immediately. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I'll marry you." He kissed her like a drowning man finding shore. Desperate and grateful and devastating. "Thank you," he breathed against her mouth. "Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for all of it. I love you. I love you too. So much." He pulled back, managed a shaky smile. "We should do it soon. Next week, maybe. Small ceremony. Just family. Nothing fancy. I don't have the energy for fancy. I don't need fancy. I just need you. You have me. For whatever time is left, you have all of me." They told their families that evening. Patricia cried. Happy tears mixed with heartbroken ones. "I never thought I'd see you married," she said, hugging Holden tight. "I'm so glad you found her. So glad you get to have this." Renee drove up the next morning, took one look at Naomi, and pulled her into a fierce hug. "You sure about this, baby?" she asked quietly. "Completely. It's going to hurt worse. Being his widow." "I know. But Mama, he asked me to marry him. He wants me to be his wife. How could I say no to that?" Renee cupped her daughter's face. "You couldn't. Because you have the biggest, bravest heart." She kissed Naomi's forehead. "Then let's give him the most beautiful wedding. Let's make it perfect." Jamie arrived that afternoon, and to Naomi's surprise, he hugged her. "I'm sorry," he said, "for not seeing it sooner. For thinking." He stepped back. "You make him happy. That's all that matters. And if you're going to be my sister-in-law, even for a little while, I'm honored." "Thank you," Naomi managed. They planned the wedding for the following Saturday. 1 week away. The garden at the estate. Just family and close friends. Simple white dress. Borrowed from Patricia. Flowers from Holden's mother's garden. A minister Patricia knew from church. The week passed in a blur. Holden's energy was declining noticeably. He slept more, ate less, needed help with things he'd managed alone just days before. The pain was constant now, requiring around-the-clock medication that left him foggy. But he stayed present for the planning. Chose the music. Jazz standards they'd danced to in the kitchen. Wrote his vows himself, refusing to let Naomi see them until the ceremony. Insisted on a real wedding cake, even though he probably couldn't eat it. "Details matter," he said when she questioned it. "These memories matter." Thursday night, 2 days before the wedding, Holden had a crisis. Pain so severe that even emergency medication barely touched it. Breathing labored, skin clammy. For 3 hours, Naomi genuinely thought she might lose him before they made it to Saturday. She called Dr. Chen at midnight. "It's a pain crisis," Dr. Chen confirmed after hearing the symptoms. "His body is struggling. I can send an ambulance. No hospitals. He made me promise. Naomi, if he codes at home, then he codes at home. But I'm not breaking my promise to him." Her voice was steel. "Tell me what to do." Dr. Chen talked her through adjusting his medication cocktail. Higher doses, different combinations. Risky but necessary. By 2 a.m., Holden was finally resting. Not comfortable but stable. Naomi sat beside his bed, watching him breathe, counting each breath like a prayer. Patricia found her there at dawn. "You should rest," she said softly. "Can't. Need to watch him." "Naomi." Patricia sat beside her. "You can't save him. You know that, right? No matter how vigilant you are, no matter how perfectly you manage his care, he's still dying." "I know. Then why are you doing this to yourself?" "Because I promised to be here. Every moment. And because—" Her voice broke. "Because when he's gone, I need to know I did everything. I need no regrets." Patricia squeezed her hand. He's lucky to have you. We all are. Holden woke around 8, groggy but alert enough to recognize her. Still here, he murmured. Still here, she confirmed. Saturday. 2 days away. You're going to make it. Promise. She couldn't promise that. Nobody could. But she said it anyway. Promise. Saturday morning dawned clear and perfect. The kind of Charleston spring day that made you believe in magic. Naomi dressed in Patricia's spare room, her mother helping with the zipper on the simple white dress. Not a traditional wedding gown, no train, no veil, no pretense. Just a beautiful dress for a beautiful, terrible day. You look stunning, Renee said, eyes filling. I look like I'm going to cry through the entire ceremony. Then cry. Nothing wrong with tears on your wedding day. Downstairs, they'd transformed the garden. White chairs, white flowers, string lights ready for evening even though the ceremony was at noon. Small and intimate and achingly beautiful. Holden waited under an arch of roses. He'd managed to shower, dress in a suit that hung loose now but still looked good. Pale but present. Scared but determined. Jamie stood beside him as best man. Dr. Chen had come, and the overnight nurse, and a handful of Holden's old colleagues who'd made the trip. 20 people total. 20 witnesses to an impossible love story. The music started, Ella Fitzgerald, The Very Thought of You. Naomi walked down the aisle alone. No father to give her away. Just her, choosing this, choosing him, choosing love, even knowing the cost. Holden's face when he saw her. She would remember that forever. The wonder. The gratitude. The love so fierce it was almost painful to witness. She reached him, took his shaking hands. Hi, he whispered. Hi. The minister began, but Naomi barely heard the traditional words. She was too focused on Holden, on memorizing this moment, on being fully, completely present. Then it was time for vows. Holden went first, pulling out a folded paper with trembling hands. Naomi, he began, voice rough. 3 months ago I was ready to die. Not just physically but in every way that matters. I'd given up on joy, on connection, on the idea that life could still surprise me. He looked up from the paper, met her eyes. Then you walked into my house and changed everything. She was already crying. You showed me what it means to really live. To be present in each moment. To love without holding back, even when, especially when, time is short. His voice broke. You gave me something I never thought I'd have. You gave me love. Real, messy, imperfect, beautiful love. He folded the paper, took both her hands. I can't give you forever. I can't give you the life you deserve. The decades, the children, the growing old together. But I can give you my whole heart for whatever time I have. I can give you my name. I can give you proof that this was real, that we were real. Tears streamed down his face. I love you, Naomi Wells. And I will love you until my very last breath. And maybe, his voice broke completely. Maybe somehow even after that. Naomi couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. The minister nodded to her gently. She hadn't written anything down. Couldn't have read it through tears anyway. Holden, she managed. When Marcus died, I thought that was it for me. I thought I'd had my chance at love and lost it, and that was my story. She gripped his hands tighter. But you showed me that hearts don't just get one chance. That love isn't a limited resource. That you can lose everything and still find something beautiful in the ruins. She took a shaky breath. I know this isn't forever. I know in a few weeks I'm going to be standing here without you, and it's going to destroy me. Her voice steadied. But I'd rather have these weeks as your wife than a lifetime of playing it safe. I'd rather hurt from loving you than regret never taking the chance. She pulled his hands to her heart. You're not just my patient. You're not just the man I fell for. You're my home. My choice. My love. She smiled through tears. And I am so honored to be your wife. For however long we have. There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. The minister cleared his throat. The rings. Jamie stepped forward with a small box. Inside, 2 simple gold bands. Holden slipped one on Naomi's finger, hand shaking so badly she had to help guide it. She slid the other on his, and it was the most significant thing she'd ever done. "By the power vested in me," the minister said, voice thick with emotion, "I now pronounce you husband and wife." He smiled. "You may kiss your bride." Holden cupped Naomi's face and kissed her like it was the first time and the last time and every time in between. Kissed her like she was oxygen and he was drowning. Kissed her like love could stop time if you wanted it badly enough. When they broke apart, the small crowd was on their feet, applauding and crying and celebrating something bittersweet and perfect. "Mrs. Ashford," Holden whispered against her lips. "Mr. Ashford," she whispered back. They held each other while cameras clicked and people congratulated and the spring sun blessed them with impossible light. For that moment, death wasn't in the garden. Only love. Only them. Only this perfect, fleeting, precious now. The reception was short. Holden's energy was fading fast. But they managed an hour. Cake cutting, though he couldn't eat much. A first dance to Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World," his arms around her, her holding him up as much as dancing. "Best day of my life," he said into her hair. "Mine too. No regrets. Not a single one." By 3 p.m., he was exhausted. They said goodbye to guests, thanked everyone for coming, and retreated inside. Naomi helped him up the stairs. His stairs now in their house, with their garden outside. "I need to rest," he admitted, collapsing on the bed. "Rest? I'm right here." She changed out of the wedding dress into comfortable clothes and curled up beside him. "We're married," he said, like testing the words. "We're married," she confirmed. "Thank you for today. For saying yes. For all of it. Thank you for asking. For loving me. For being brave enough to let me love you back." He pulled her closer, and she felt how thin he'd become, how fragile. Time accelerating toward the inevitable. "Naomi." "Yeah. I'm scared." "I know, baby. Me too. Will you stay with me? When it gets really bad. When I'm not myself anymore. Will you stay anyway? I'm not going anywhere. I promise. I'm your wife now. For better or worse. Sickness and health. All of it." He kissed her temple. "Best decision I ever made, marrying you." "Second best," she corrected. "Best decision was hiring me in the first place." He laughed. Actually laughed. "Yeah. You're right." They fell asleep like that, wrapped around each other, husband and wife, counting down the hours they had left and pretending they had forever. Outside, the garden bloomed. Inside, Patricia quietly collected wedding photos, preserving memories for the hard days coming. And in the solarium, the setting sun painted everything gold, a last perfect moment before the darkness came. The decline came faster than anyone expected. 1 week after the wedding, Holden could no longer walk without assistance. 2 weeks, and he couldn't leave the bed most days. The cancer was devouring him from the inside. Liver failing, lungs filling with fluid, body shutting down system by system. Naomi barely left his side. She'd converted his bedroom into a full hospice suite. Hospital bed, oxygen machine, medication cart organized with military precision. The overnight nurse still came, but Naomi handled most of his care herself. Refused to let anyone else do it. "You need to rest," Patricia said one morning, finding Naomi hollow-eyed and exhausted. "You're running yourself into the ground." "I'm fine." "You're not. You haven't slept more than 2 hours at a time in days. You're barely eating. Naomi, you can't take care of him if you collapse." "I can't leave him." "I'm not asking you to leave. I'm asking you to let others help. Let the nurse handle nights. Let me sit with him during the day so you can shower, eat, breathe." Patricia's voice cracked. "Please. He'd hate knowing you're destroying yourself." Naomi looked at Holden, sleeping fitfully, oxygen cannula in his nose, morphine pump beside the bed. He'd lost so much weight she could count his ribs. His skin had taken on a yellowish tinge, liver failure progressing. He barely ate, barely spoke, spent most of his time in a twilight state between consciousness and sleep. I promised him, she whispered. I promised I'd be here. Every moment. And you have been. But moments include you being healthy enough to actually be present. Patricia took her hand. 1 hour. Take 1 hour to sleep in your own bed. I'll stay with him. If anything changes, I'll wake you immediately. Naomi wanted to refuse. Wanted to stay vigilant. But her body was betraying her. Hands shaking from exhaustion, vision blurring, head pounding. 1 hour, she agreed finally. She made it to her room, collapsed on the bed still fully clothed, and was asleep in seconds. Patricia woke her 2 hours later. He's asking for you. Naomi was on her feet instantly. Heart racing. Is he? He's okay. Just wants you. She found Holden awake, more alert than he'd been in days. His eyes tracked her as she entered, and he managed a weak smile. There's my wife, he rasped. Hi, baby. She sat beside him, took his hand. So thin now, bones prominent, skin paper fragile. How are you feeling? Like death warmed over. He tried to laugh, but it turned into coughing. She helped him through it, adjusted his oxygen, checked his vitals. Pain level. Manageable. The pump helps. He studied her face. You look terrible. Thanks. Really romantic. I mean it. You're not sleeping. Not eating. Naomi, you can't. Another coughing fit. When it passed, his breathing was labored. You can't do this to yourself. I'm fine. You're a terrible liar. His thumb traced her knuckles. I need you to promise me something. Anything. When I'm gone, you take care of yourself. You eat. You sleep. You grieve, but you don't destroy yourself. His eyes were intense despite the medication fog. I need to know you'll be okay. That's the only way I can let go. Her throat closed. Don't talk about letting go. Naomi. His voice was gentle. We both know it's close. Days maybe. Not weeks anymore. Don't. Listen to me. He pulled her closer with what little strength he had. I'm not afraid of dying anymore. You know why. She shook her head, unable to speak. Because I got to love you. Really love you. I got to marry you, call you my wife, wake up next to you. Tears slipped down his temples. I got to feel what it's like to be someone's whole world. That's more than most people get in a lifetime, and I got it in 3 months. It's not enough time. It's never enough time. But it's what we have, and it's been beautiful. He touched her face. You made my life beautiful, Naomi. You gave me something worth dying for. She broke then. Really broke. Sobbed into his chest while he held her with arms that barely had strength left, whispering comfort even though he was the one dying. I don't know how to do this, she choked out. I don't know how to lose you. Yes, you do. You did it with Marcus. You survived then, you'll survive now. I don't want to survive. I want you to stay. I know, baby. I know. He kissed her hair. But you have to keep living. You have to have a full life. Fall in love again, maybe have kids, grow old with someone who can actually give you decades. I don't want someone else. Not now. But someday. He tilted her chin up, made her look at him. Promise me. Promise you won't stop living when I stop breathing. Holden. Promise me, Naomi. Please. I need to hear it. She couldn't. The words wouldn't come. How could she promise to move on when her heart was breaking in real time? But he was looking at her with such desperate hope, such need for reassurance. I promise, she whispered. I'll try. That's all I ask. He pulled her down for a kiss. Soft and sweet and tasting of goodbye. I love you. So much. I love you too. Always. They lay together, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Irregular now, struggling. Each beat a gift. Each breath borrowed time. Naomi. Yeah. If there's anything after this, heaven, another life, whatever, I'll find you. I'll wait for you. His voice was drowsy now, medication pulling him under. And we'll have forever then. Real forever. I'll hold you to that. Good. His breathing was evening out, sleep claiming him. My beautiful wife. My Naomi. Best thing that ever happened. His voice trailed off into sleep. Naomi stayed exactly where she was, counting his heartbeats, feeling his chest rise and fall, pretending this moment could last forever. 2 days later, everything changed. Naomi woke at dawn to alarms. His oxygen saturation dropping, heart rate erratic. She was on her feet instantly, checking monitors, adjusting equipment. Holden. Baby, open your eyes. He did, but they were unfocused. Confused. The liver failure was affecting his brain now. Toxins building up, causing delirium. Where? He looked around, didn't seem to recognize the room. Where am I? Your home. In your bedroom. I'm right here. Who? His eyes landed on her. No recognition. Who are you? The words hit like a physical blow. It's me. Naomi. Your wife. I'm not married. He tried to sit up, panicked. I need to. There's work. The company. Holden, the company is sold. You're sick. You need to rest. No. No, I have meetings. I have. He was getting agitated, pulling at his oxygen line. Get away from me. I don't know you. Dr. Chen had warned her this might happen. End-stage liver failure often caused confusion, personality changes. The person she loved was still in there, but the disease was scrambling his brain chemistry. Okay, she said calmly, stepping back. Okay. I'm right here if you need me. She called Patricia, who came immediately. Together, they managed to calm him enough to administer sedation. He fought it at first, then gradually relaxed, slipping back into unconsciousness. Is he? Patricia couldn't finish. Not yet. But soon. Naomi's voice was hollow. Days, maybe hours. His body is shutting down. What do you need? Everyone here. Family. Anyone who wants to say goodbye. She looked at Patricia. Call them. Tell them to come now. By that evening they'd gathered. Patricia and Jamie. Renee, who'd driven straight through from Atlanta. Dr. Chen, making what they all knew was likely her final house call. The overnight nurse, there to help however needed. They took turns sitting with him, saying things he probably couldn't hear, holding his hand, making peace. Naomi sat vigil through it all, barely moving from her chair beside his bed. Around midnight, when everyone else had dozed off in various corners, Holden's eyes opened. Clear. Focused. Him again. Naomi. She was beside him instantly. I'm here. How long was I? He looked around, seemed to understand. I didn't recognize you before. Did I? It's okay. The disease. No. It's not okay. His voice was weak but adamant. My last days with you and I can't even remember your face? You remember now. That's what matters. I'm scared. Tears leaked from the corners of his eyes. I thought I'd made peace. But Naomi, I'm so scared. I don't want to leave you. I don't want to stop existing. She climbed into the bed beside him, careful of all his lines and tubes, and gathered him as close as she dared. I've got you, she whispered. You're not alone. I'm right here. Promise you won't leave. When it happens, promise you'll be here. I promise. I'm not going anywhere. Tell me something. Something happy. Need to think about something other than dying. She thought for a moment. Remember our beach trip? That last sunset. Yeah. I knew that night. Watching you watch the ocean. I knew I'd love you for the rest of my life. She kissed his forehead. And I was right. I will love you for the rest of my life. This love doesn't end when you do. Naomi. Sure. Just listen. You're going to be in every sunrise, every ocean wave, every garden rose. You're not leaving me, Holden. You're becoming part of everything beautiful in the world. He was crying openly now. How are you so strong? I'm not. I'm breaking apart. But I'll break later. Right now, I'm here for you. His breathing was getting worse, more labored. She could hear the rattle starting. The death rattle nurses knew meant the end was close. It's okay to let go, she whispered, even though saying it destroyed her. You've fought so hard. You've been so brave. But if you need to rest now, if you need to stop fighting, that's okay. I'll be okay. She wouldn't be. They both knew it. But he needed permission to stop fighting. Love you, he managed. So much. Best 3 months of my life. Mine too, baby. Mine too. His eyes started to close. Tired. Then sleep. I've got you. You're safe. Don't leave. Never. I'm right here. Right here until the end and after. His breathing slowed. Deepened. The spaces between breaths getting longer. Naomi held him and counted. 1 breath. 2. 3. Wait. 1 breath. 2. Longer wait. 1 breath. Wait. Wait. Nothing. She pressed her fingers to his neck. No pulse. Pressed her ear to his chest. No heartbeat. Holden. Her voice broke. Baby. Silence. He was gone. Holden Ashford, 41 years old, her husband, her love, her impossible gift. Gone. Naomi held his body and screamed. Screamed until her voice gave out. Screamed until Patricia and Renee and Jamie surrounded her, pulled her away, held her together while she fell completely apart. The date was June 8, 2024. 3 months and 5 days after they'd met. 2 weeks after they'd married. An eternity too soon. 3 months later. Naomi stood in the solarium, the space where everything had begun, and tried to remember how to breathe. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Patricia had offered to let her stay as long as she wanted. It's your home too now. But Naomi knew she couldn't. Everywhere she looked, she saw him. Heard his laugh. Felt his absence like a physical wound. She'd stayed for a month after he died. Helped plan the funeral, a beautiful service in the garden where they'd married. Watched them lower him into the ground beside the roses he'd planted for her. Accepted condolences from people who said things like, "At least he's not suffering," and "You gave him such a beautiful ending." As if beautiful endings existed when you lost everything. Then she'd gone back to her apartment. The 1-bedroom in West Ashley that felt even emptier than before. Threw herself into work, taking double shifts at the hospice center, caring for other people's dying loved ones because she couldn't save her own. Her colleagues worried. Her mother called daily. Friends she hadn't spoken to in years reached out with careful, concerned messages. Everyone wanted to know if she was okay. She wasn't. Not even close. But she showed up. Got dressed. Went through the motions. Because she'd promised Holden she would keep living, and breaking promises to dead people felt like the worst kind of betrayal. Now she was back at the estate for the first time since leaving. Patricia had called, said there was something Naomi needed to see. He left you things, Patricia explained, leading her upstairs. Instructions for after he was gone. I've been following them, but this part is for you. She opened the door to Holden's study. On his desk sat a laptop, powered on, with a video file queued up. Beside it, a stack of envelopes, each labeled with a date. Patricia squeezed her shoulder. Take all the time you need. I'll be downstairs. Alone, Naomi approached the desk like it might bite her. Her hands shook as she clicked play on the video. Holden's face filled the screen. He looked better than the end. This was recorded maybe 2 weeks before he died. Still thin, still obviously ill but present. Alert. Him. Hi, Naomi, his recorded voice said, and she had to bite her fist to keep from sobbing. If you're watching this, then I'm gone. And you're probably a mess. I know you. You're probably working yourself to death, taking care of everyone except yourself, pretending you're fine when you're breaking apart. Tears streamed down her face. I need you to stop that. Right now. I need you to actually grieve instead of just surviving. He leaned closer to the camera. So here's what we're going to do. See those envelopes? There's one for every month for the next year. Open them on the date written. Inside, there's a letter from me and a task. He smiled, that smile she'd loved so much. I can't be there to take care of you anymore. But I can leave pieces of myself behind to remind you that you're not alone. That I'm still here, in a way. That I'm still loving you, even from wherever I am now. Her hand covered her mouth. The first envelope is labeled today's date. Open it when this video ends. Follow the instructions. And Naomi. His eyes were intense, loving. I know you promised to try to keep living. Now I need you to actually do it. Really live. Not just exist. That's my dying wish. My real one. You being happy again. The video ended. Naomi sat in silence for a long moment, then reached for the first envelope with shaking hands. Inside, a letter in Holden's handwriting. Shaky but legible. My beautiful wife. 3 months. That's how long I've been gone. Long enough for the initial shock to wear off, but not long enough for the grief to ease. I'm guessing you've been running on empty, avoiding anything that reminds you of us, probably telling everyone you're fine. You're not fine. And that's okay. Your task this month. Go to the beach. Our beach. Edisto Island. I've arranged for you to stay in the same house for a long weekend. The reservation is already made, everything paid for. All you have to do is go. I know it will hurt. I know facing those memories will be excruciating. But I also know you need to prove to yourself that you can survive the painful places, that you can hold the grief and the love at the same time. Go to our beach, Naomi. Sit in our spot. Watch our sunset. And remember that we were real. That this pain is proof of something beautiful, not something to run from. I love you. Always will. Holden. P.S. The photo from that sunset is in the envelope. Frame it. Look at it when you need to remember I was happy. We were happy. She pulled out the photo with trembling hands. The selfie from their beach trip, both of them windblown and grinning, ocean behind them, sunset painting everything gold. They looked so alive, so in love, so unaware that they had only days left. Naomi pressed the photo to her chest and finally let herself really cry. Not the numb, hollow crying she'd been doing. Real, gut-wrenching sobs that came from the deepest part of her grief. She cried for him. For them. For the life they'd never have. For the decades stolen. For the unfairness of finding perfect love only to lose it. And when the tears finally slowed, she picked up her phone and booked time off work. She was going to the beach. Edisto Island looked the same. The house, the deck, the ocean rolling endlessly toward shore. Naomi arrived on a Friday evening in late September, when the summer crowds had thinned and the beach was nearly empty. She stood on the deck where they'd watched that last sunset together, and she could almost feel him beside her. Almost hear his voice. Almost believe that if she turned around, he'd be there. But he wasn't. He was gone. And she was here alone, learning how to carry him with her instead of beside her. That weekend, she did what he'd asked. Sat in their spot. Walked their beach. Watched the sun set exactly where they'd watched it together. And she talked to him. Out loud like he could hear her. I'm so angry at you, she said to the ocean. For leaving. For making me fall in love with you knowing you'd die. For making me promise to keep living when living without you is impossible. The waves answered with their endless rhythm. But I'm also grateful. Because you gave me 3 months of the most intense, beautiful, real love I've ever known. You saw me. Really saw me. And you loved me anyway. She wiped tears. I miss you. Every second of every day. I reach for my phone to text you and remember you're not there. I see something funny and think, Holden would love this, and then remember you're gone. Her voice cracked. How do I do this? How do I live in a world without you in it? The sunset blazed orange and pink and gold, just like that last one they'd shared. And in that moment, Naomi felt something shift. Not healing, she wasn't healed. Maybe never would be completely. But something softer than the raw agony she'd been carrying. Acceptance, maybe. Or just exhaustion from fighting reality. Holden was gone. That truth wasn't changing. But he'd lived. They'd loved. And that mattered. That mattered more than anything. The months that followed were marked by Holden's letters. October's envelope sent her to a grief counselor. I know you'll resist this, but you need someone professional to talk to. Someone who isn't trying to fix you, just help you survive. She went. Hated it at first. Then slowly started to find value in having a space to be broken without judgment. November's letter instructed her to have Thanksgiving with her mother and to actually eat, actually engage, actually try to feel joy even if it felt disloyal. She did. And it hurt. But it also felt good to laugh at her mother's stories, to remember she was still alive, still here, still capable of moments of lightness. December's was the hardest. Buy a gift for yourself from me. Something you'd never buy yourself. Something impractical and beautiful. Wrap it. Put it under your mom's tree. And on Christmas morning, remember that I would have spoiled you rotten if I'd had the chance. She bought a cashmere scarf, ridiculously expensive, incredibly soft, in a blue that matched Holden's eyes. Wore it all winter, feeling wrapped in him. January's envelope came 1 year after his diagnosis. Naomi. 1 year ago, I found out I was dying. I had 6 months, they said. I was angry, resigned, ready to just fade away. Then you walked into my life and changed everything. I know this year has been the hardest of your life. I know you've cried yourself to sleep more nights than not. I know there are days you're not sure why you're bothering to get out of bed. But you did. You got up. You kept going. And I'm so proud of you. Your task this month. Go on a date. Wait, don't close this letter yet. I know you're not ready for a relationship. That's not what I'm asking. But I need you to prove to yourself that you're still capable of sitting across from someone and having a conversation. Of being seen as a person, not just a grieving widow. It doesn't have to lead anywhere. It doesn't have to mean anything. Just one coffee with one person. For you. For me. For the future you promised you'd try to have. I love you. I'll always love you. And loving me doesn't mean you can't love again. Please try. Holden. Naomi stared at the letter for a week before she finally, reluctantly, downloaded a dating app. She didn't want to. Every fiber of her being resisted. But she'd promised. She matched with a teacher named David. 42, kind eyes, easy smile. They agreed to coffee. The date was fine. Not terrible, not wonderful. Just fine. He was nice. She was polite. They talked about safe things, work, hobbies, favorite movies. He asked her out again. She said yes, surprising herself. They went on 3 more dates over the next month. Nothing serious. Nothing that threatened the space Holden still occupied in her heart. But something light. Something that reminded her she was still a person capable of connecting with other humans. On their 4th date, David asked, "You're not really over someone, are you?" She could have lied. Should have, probably. Instead, she said, "No, I'm not. I lost my husband last June. And I'm not sure I'll ever be completely over him." She expected David to leave. To decide she was too much work. Instead, he said, "That's okay. I lost my wife 2 years ago. Cancer. I get it." They talked for 3 hours that night. About loss. About grief. About learning to live in the after. They dated casually for the next few months. Both understanding it wasn't forever love, just companion healing. 2 wounded people helping each other remember how to be human. June arrived. 1 year since Holden died. The final envelope waited on her kitchen counter. She'd picked it up from Patricia a week ago but couldn't bring herself to open it. This was the last one. The last new words from him. After this, there were no more letters waiting. No more instructions. Just her figuring out life without his guidance. She opened it on June 8th. The anniversary of his death. My Naomi. 1 year. You made it. And I'm betting you're reading this through tears, which means you're still feeling, still grieving, still loving me. Good. Never stop loving me. But also, and this is important, don't stop loving yourself. You've followed my instructions for a year now. You've done the hard work of surviving. But now it's time to do more than survive. It's time to really live. So this last task isn't from me. It's from you. What do you want? Not what you think I'd want. Not what your mom wants or your friends suggest. What does Naomi want for her life? Write it down. Dream it. Then chase it. Maybe it's traveling. Maybe it's changing careers. Maybe it's falling in love again with someone who can give you the decades I couldn't. Maybe it's staying single and focusing on yourself. Maybe it's something I couldn't even imagine. Whatever it is, do it. Live it. Be it. Because you promised me you'd keep living. And I'm holding you to that promise. One more thing. In my study at the estate, there's a box with your name on it. Patricia knows where. Inside is something I want you to have. Not for grief. For the future. I love you, Naomi Wells Ashford. I loved you from that first day to my last breath and beyond. Thank you for giving a dying man the most beautiful ending possible. Now go write yourself a beautiful beginning. Yours forever. Holden. She cried. Of course she cried. Then she drove to the estate. Patricia met her at the door, eyes red. She'd been crying too. Anniversaries were hard for everyone. The box is upstairs, Patricia said softly. I'll give you privacy. In Holden's study on his desk sat a small wooden box with Naomi carved into the lid. Inside, keys. House keys. And a deed. The Ashford estate, transferred to her name, effective upon his death. A letter rested beneath. The house is yours. Not because you need money or property, but because you made this house a home. You filled it with love and laughter and life in my final months. It should be yours to keep filling with whatever comes next. Live here. Sell it. Turn it into something new. Whatever you want. But know that every room, every corner, every garden path, they're all full of us. Of the love we built in too short time. This is my gift to you. Not grief. Home. Naomi walked through the house, seeing it with new eyes. The solarium where they'd met. The garden where they'd married. The bedroom where he died in her arms. It hurt. All of it hurt. But it was also beautiful. She found Patricia in the kitchen. Did you know about this? Naomi asked. Yes. He arranged it months ago. Told me you'd probably try to refuse it, and I should convince you to accept. Patricia smiled through tears. He wanted you to have somewhere that felt like him. Like home. Naomi looked around. This house had been a tomb for the past year. A place she avoided because the memories were too painful. But maybe it could be something else. Maybe it could be what Holden said. Home. I'll need help, she said slowly. If I'm going to live here. It's too big for just me. What are you thinking? An idea was forming. Something that felt right. Something that honored Holden while creating something new. What if we turned it into a hospice house? A beautiful place where people can come for end-of-life care. Where families can stay together. Where dying doesn't have to be cold and clinical. She looked at Patricia. He wanted me to keep living. What if I do that by helping others live fully until they can't anymore? Patricia's eyes filled. He would love that. Would you help me? You know this house. You know his vision. I'd be honored. 2 years later. June 2026. The Ashford house was a reality. A residential hospice facility that felt like a home. 6 private suites. Families welcomed to stay. Gardens for walking. Music in every room. Food prepared by an actual chef, not from a hospital kitchen. A place where people came to die with dignity, surrounded by beauty and love. Naomi ran it with Patricia's help. Still worked hands-on as a nurse. Still held hands and whispered comfort and made peace possible. But now she did it in the house she'd shared with Holden. Honoring his memory by helping others have the endings they deserved. She'd dated David for 8 months before they mutually agreed they were better as friends. Stayed close though. He volunteered at the hospice sometimes, understanding grief in ways others couldn't. She'd gone to therapy consistently, joined a grief support group, learned that healing wasn't linear, that some days she still cried in the shower, that loving Holden and building a new life weren't mutually exclusive. On June 8, 2026, the second anniversary of his death, Naomi stood in the garden where they'd married. His headstone was simple. Holden Ashford. Beloved husband. He lived fully. She placed roses, the ones he'd planted for her, still blooming every year. "Hi, baby," she said softly. "I did it. The house. The hospice. Everything you wanted for me." She smiled through tears. "We helped 6 people die peacefully this year. Surrounded by family, by beauty, by love. Just like you were." The wind rustled through the garden, and she could almost believe he heard her. "I'm happy. Not the same kind of happy as with you, but a different kind. A quieter kind." She touched the headstone. "I still miss you. Every single day. But I'm living, Holden. Really living. Just like I promised." "Naomi." Patricia called from the house. "The Johnsons are here for the tour. A new family. A new patient. A new opportunity to do what she did best. Care for people in their final days. Coming," she called back. She kissed her fingers, pressed them to Holden's name on the stone. "I love you. Always will." Then she walked back toward the house. Their house, now transformed into something that helped others. The solarium glowed with afternoon light. The garden bloomed with life. And somewhere in the walls, the floors, the air itself, Naomi could feel him. Not gone. Just different. Still loving her. Still with her. Just in a new way. She'd survived losing him. Now she was learning to thrive despite the loss. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Maybe that was everything. 5 years later, Naomi stood in the solarium, now converted into a beautiful common room for hospice patients and their families. She was 39 now. 5 years since Holden died. 8 years since Marcus. The grief had softened into something manageable. Not gone, never gone, but integrated into who she was. Part of her story, not the whole story. The Ashford house had helped over 100 people die with dignity. Families sent thank you letters. Made donations in their loved ones' names. Told Naomi she'd given them the greatest gift. Time and peace in final days. She'd learned that Holden's legacy wasn't his billions or his tech company. It was this. The ripple effect of love turning into care that spread to strangers. Her mother had moved to Charleston, helped run the administrative side. Patricia still lived in the guest house. Considered herself Naomi's family now. And Naomi had started dating again. Seriously this time. His name was William. 41, architect, divorced. Kind in the quiet way that reminded her of Holden but was distinctly his own person. They'd met when he volunteered to design a new accessible entrance for the hospice. It was slow. Careful. She'd been honest from day one. "I've been married twice. Lost both of them. I come with a lot of baggage." He'd said, "I've got my own baggage. Maybe we can help each other carry it." They'd been together 8 months now. Not living together yet, but heading that direction. He understood when she needed space on hard days. Didn't compete with her past. Just held space for her present. On this particular June afternoon, William found her in the solarium, staring at the framed photo on the wall. Her and Holden on the beach, sunset behind them, both of them impossibly happy. "You okay?" William asked gently. "Yeah. Just remembering." He stood beside her, studied the photo. "He looks happy." He was. We were. She leaned into William's side. "I was thinking about what he'd say if he could see all this. The hospice. You. My life now. What do you think he'd say?" Naomi smiled. "He'd say he's proud of me. That I kept my promise. That I'm living, not just surviving." "Are you living?" She thought about that. About the patients she'd helped this year. The garden she tended. The laughter she'd shared with her mother over coffee. The way William made her feel seen and safe. The peace she'd found in this house that had once been a place of death but was now a place of life. "Yeah," she said softly. "I really am." William kissed her temple. Good. He'd want that. He would. Later that night, alone in her bedroom, the one that had been hers when she first moved in, Naomi wrote in her journal, "Dear Holden, 5 years. Half a decade without you. Sometimes it feels like yesterday. Sometimes it feels like a lifetime ago. I kept my promise. I'm living. Really living. I fell in love again. His name is William, and he's different from you in all the ways that matter for me now. He's not you. He never will be. But he's good and kind, and he makes me happy. I hope that's okay. I hope wherever you are, you're proud of me. The hospice is thriving. We helped 23 people this year have peaceful endings. I like to think you're welcoming them on the other side, making sure they're okay. I still miss you. That hasn't changed. I don't think it ever will. You were my husband, my impossible love, my proof that 3 months can hold a lifetime. But I'm okay now. Really okay. Not just surviving. Living. Thank you for that last year of letters. For pushing me to grieve and heal and move forward. For loving me enough to want me to be happy, even without you. I'll always love you, Holden. But I'm learning I can love you and still have room for more love. Hearts are infinite like that. Rest easy, baby. Your wife, your widow. Your legacy is living the hell out of this life. Until we meet again. Naomi. She closed the journal, turned off the light, and went to sleep. And if she dreamed of sunsets on beaches and gardens in bloom and a man who'd loved her for 3 perfect months, well, that was just her heart's way of holding on to forever. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.